Welcome to the first ever The Nashville Dads podcast episode. In this episode, we talk about dad walks, getting outside, and being more intentional. We can't wait for you to hear it. We're so happy you're here. Please stay tuned. I see you have notes written down.
It's just things that
Just words.
Just words. No, I wanted to talk about, and this is going to be really cheesy.
That's okay.
Especially for dads.
Yeah.
A dude walking club, like a dad walking club.
What do you mean? Like, what is a dude walking club by your definition?
It's a whole bunch of dads every Saturday morning getting together and just walking around the neighborhood.
Just walking around.
Yeah.
With a kid or without a kid?
With the kid.
With the kid.
Yeah, it's got to be with the kid.
I mean, I would assume so. How do you prove you're a dad without the kid on
have
you?
that kid.
Do you have you done the carrier or do you do stroller? Which one's working better for you?
Stroller for me. I
Okay.
did the carrier just around the house.
Yeah.
One time.
Okay.
She was okay.
Okay. Did you do her forward, like towards your chest facing or
Towards
outward
the chest,
facing?
yeah.
She's very
She's
young.
not. Yeah, I don't think she's big enough to.
I don't think so either. She needs more neck muscles.
But I don't know. I saw it on What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Okay.
Remember how the dads? Did you ever watch that movie?
I didn't. No.
Yeah, I'm a loser.
That's okay.
But all the dads would get together, I think, on a weekly basis and walk around with their kids and just had a great time. I was like, man, that actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Get out of the houses. I'm sure the moms would love it.
Usually.
Bringing all the kids.
Yeah.
Letting them have some time alone in the house.
Oh, man.
Relax.
Convincing my 3 and 5-year-old to go on a walk is like an adventure every time. It's we always try to get the kids to go outside as much as possible because it seems like it tires them out and they like enjoy it better.
Yeah.
And if we're inside, they're just complaining that they aren't on screens the entire time.
Yep.
And we don't even give them that much screen time, but it's still they're sitting there and like, when do I get on my iPad? And we're like, you don't. Like, that's not an option. You don't do it.
Yeah.
So like this morning we walked down to the playground on Tanksley and like had to talk them both into it to go to the playground down there. And then like we were there at the playground for like 45 minutes and I was like, okay, let's go home and eat lunch. And they're like, we aren't leaving. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
but I mean, I'm glad you're doing this, but like, where was this an hour and a half ago whenever we had to beg you and like trick you into leaving the house?
We have such a cool neighborhood. Park does not get utilized enough.
It doesn't. I think as more people in our neighborhood have had more kids, I've seen more people at it. Or I know like, other people live in my
I
street.
remember when the homeless dude took over the little covered structure for like
Ooh, yeah.
a year straight.
There was one time, it was early in the morning, and I went to that playground with the girls. Someone had pooped on one of the bridges. Because the girls like ran up there, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And they both were like standing there staring, and I was like, are you guys okay? Like, what? You guys know how slides work. Did you just forget? And they pointed over, and I was like, all right, cool. Let's go to the playground at Coleman. You know what, guys? I don't know. I'm not going to explain to you what that is or how that got here. But what I'm going to tell you is let's go somewhere else.
Was that pre the renovation of that school or post?
Oh, I don't remember. It was probably in the middle of it. You know, Coleman Community Center is pretty awesome. It doesn't get enough hype, but it has like a pool inside of it and has like a basketball court inside.
It does on the inside, but not the outside. It's totally different.
The outside is very different. I mean, they've got a pretty cool playground, but
Yeah.
your kid's 2 months old, so like her playground needs pretty limited.
Yeah.
Pretty limited.
Do you guys go to the park very often?
As much as we can. I feel like Heather likes being outside a lot and works all day inside. So if there's any opportunity to go outside, she's like, yeah, let's get out of here right now.
Yeah. I saw on her Instagram, like, of her having the kids playing outside in the leaves and everything like that. That's pretty cool.
It is. I forget what I was doing during that. Maybe I'd gotten Josh to fall asleep inside, and she was like, cool, I'm taking the girls outside, so he hopefully sleeps for a little bit longer. So,
But was it some type of challenge or some
no, I think
something?
Holly just started raking them. No, Holly, if she does something, she's very much the oldest child and is like, cool, now you have to jump in this pile, then this pile. So whatever happens, she sets up rules and then has to follow the rules. And we're just like, cool, you could just make a pile and jump into it. No, we have to make 2 piles this size and do this and this. Yeah, we go on walks a lot, definitely with Josh, because it is like the best way to get him to sleep. Since it's starting to get colder in the morning, we're more prone to wrap him and put him against us. This past week, he very much won't take a nap unless he's in like a carrier or a wrap. So I've been doing a lot of like, it's just easier. Really, as a parent, you find stuff that works.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this damaging anyone? Just my shoulders? Awesome. We'll go to a chiropractor. I'll figure it out. Yeah, this whole week, the only way I could get him to sleep for like a morning or afternoon nap was in a carrier. So, and like, it's literally like if I'm standing, he stays asleep. But if I sit down, for some reason, that shift in weight, he wakes up immediately.
Man, we might have to start doing that. The last 2 days, Ada has just been fussy. Put her down, she'll be fine for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then just fuss. Pick her up.
Yeah.
Same thing, and it's just a up down. What do you want?
Have you heard of like the concept of the fourth trimester?
No.
It's called like the fourth trimester. So like the first 3 months, it's basically like they're still like in utero. So what they want mostly is like to be physically close to you. They can't regulate their own emotions. There's a lot of stuff they can't do because they are so young and there's so much for them to develop. I should research that better so it sounds better. But there's a concept of like the fourth trimester where for the first 3 months they're just so raw and so little they can't do anything on their own at all. So they do need more physical touch and more everything.
You need to write a book.
No. I just need to do a podcast
in
which I discuss this and say a lot of half thoughts that might actually be accurate. Who knows?
Speaking of podcast, the National Dads podcast.
But no, I think going on walks with your kids always a good idea.
Yeah, we try to do that, but I think it'd be a cool thing. I want our neighborhood to be more like the nations in the 12th South.
Yeah.
More community driven.
Yeah. Be all for it.
Because we are really only a handful that like get together.
Yeah, no, it's really funny. Like if I look outside and I see a couple that looks about our age walking with a kid and I don't know who it is, I'm like, what? Where do they live?
Yeah,
like, how have I not seen them before? Do I chase them down? No, that's too much.
Yeah, and like within the last 3 or 4 months, there's been a lot.
Yeah.
I have seen so many families just walking past and I'm like, they must be new.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then what got me onto the Walking Dads Club was yesterday. Me and Haley were hanging out in the downstairs, and we saw a group of people walking their dogs. I thought, okay, dog walking group. Why don't we do a dad walking group?
One thing I wish someone would have told me about like marriage and having children is that it always takes so much more intentionality than I feel like I'm ever prepared for. Like I feel like every aspect of being a decent husband or a decent dad is like you have to be more intentional. Or it is stuff like that. We're like, cool, how do I connect with other dads? You have to plan it and you have to make it happen. That's like the only real way it happens. You have to focus on it, be intentional, invite people, follow up with them, and make sure it actually happens.
Yeah. The planning part is not the hardest. It's the actual doing.
Yeah.
Like the planning, you can plan all you want, but sometimes you just have to push yourself to do it.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest thing. And that's something that we've actually been trying to do lately. We got a membership to the zoo.
Oh, did you?
So
nice.
We're like, all right, we're going to go to the zoo more often. We're actually going to go out and do more things.
Which the zoo, realistically, if you do it, is just a 2-mile walk outside with your kid.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. And you see some animals.
You get to see a lot of cool animals.
Yeah, it's a nice experience.
I liked it. It was more so for me and Haley.
It is. Yeah, whenever your kid is less than... I feel like whenever your kid turns 2 is whenever they actually like start to say the animal's name back to you. And
actually,
you're like, oh, this is why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. We were about 10 minutes in, and then I just looked over at Haley and was like, we're really only here for ourselves, aren't we? She's asleep. She's not even paying attention.
Yep.
It's more us with the excuse of, oh, we have a baby now.
Yeah.
We're not going to be the 2 older creeps that are walking around by themselves.
Does that make you a creep? Because I used to go to Heather. That was our like go-to date thing. Is if we went to new towns, we'd head up to the zoo for whatever reason. Early in our marriage, that's what we would do. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. If you go to some cities like Chicago and maybe St. Louis, I don't know if that one's still free, but there are some cities that actually have free zoos.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. Last time I went would have been like 4 years ago. It was actually free.
Man.
But yeah, I feel like whenever your kid's in the phase of the second you put them down, they scream. They're just asking for more physical contact, and it's really...
But even when you're picking them up,
yeah,
they're screaming.
Yeah, it's... I feel like Josh does that a lot where like I'll like he's now big enough where he'll like go on a bouncer and like it. He'll like lay down in a blanket and like it. And if he starts to get fussy and I know he's eaten recently and it's not a food need, I just put him in a carrier and walk around. And he ends up like complaining about it and then falling asleep.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. You're basically, your job as a parent is to help your kid like figure out how to like figure out the world and regulate everything.
Yeah. I'm one of those fast results type of guy, though.
It's really hard. No, I love solutions because then I get to do nothing afterwards usually if I solve a problem.
Yep.
I think we've discussed this like last time we hung out of whenever I first had kids, I had to I would do comfort techniques way too quickly. Like I would be trying to do a comfort technique like bouncing and I'd do it for like 3 seconds, be like, this isn't working, and then go on to the next one.
Yeah.
And my wife had to be like, you're not giving it any time to actually see if it works or not.
Well, it's the savior
complex.
Yeah,
basically. But I mean, like, imagine if you're upset and someone came up to you, picked you up, started bouncing you, and you were like, what are you doing? And then they started doing something else. Like, if you were that human and someone was doing that too, you'd be like, what are you doing to me?
I'd be like, this is cool. What are you talking about?
But it's actually try to sometimes think of what I'm doing from the perspective of my infant. And to be like, if someone did this to me, would I think this was cool? How would I want them to be treating me?
So what do you do?
I focus a lot more on my like internal temperature and internal like gauge. Because like whenever a kid's screaming at you, it's hard to stay focused, stay calm and everything. So like if he's screaming at me, it's like this weird sense of like, nope, you've been fed. You just played for 30 to 40 minutes. You were just entertained. Well, you probably are as tired. I'm going to put you in a carrier. I'm going to walk around and we're going to be okay. And we've got this. But yeah, there's this weird thing with parenting where like you know what's best, kind of. But especially as a first-time parent, you don't know what's best, but you know you're supposed to know what's best.
Oh, man.
So you have to somehow exude that confidence like in your being, because I do believe kids feed off of your stress and feed off of your anger.
I remember you telling me that. I don't remember if it was before or after she was born. I think it was actually after.
Yeah.
It was right after. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that.
Did it make any difference?
I'll catch myself.
Yeah.
I will catch myself where I can feel myself like that. I'm going to just calm down.
Yeah.
Slow my breathing. And then for a minute she will.
Yeah.
She'll calm down and she'll look over at me sometimes and be like, what's going on? And then she'll just bust out crying again.
Which happens. But it's similar to like if you're at a job, like you don't want to escalate every situation that you're in.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking to a client or customer, you don't lead with escalation. But sometimes you want to lead with escalation with your kid because you're like, no, you're making me mad. I want you to just go back to sleep. Yep. So you start with escalation and it's like, nope, that's not what this kid needs. That's not what you need. And it's really, it literally was the third kid. The third kid is whenever it had finally been drilled into my head, I'd have enough experience of failure to be like, nope, I have to be calm.
Yeah.
Because I am a very reactive person.
Having 3 kids, do you feel like you kind of know everything that's going on and have a regimen of, okay, if this happens, I know to do this?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think it's more I'm more quick to admit whenever what I'm doing isn't working and not be hurt that it doesn't work.
Yeah. Because
I think definitely when you have a kid and it's screaming at you, you want to be able to be not something that fixes it. You want to be able to make things better. Yeah. As a person, as a dad, I hope I make things better whenever I'm involved, right? Like that's just bare minimum. Can I make things at least better? Not great, not good, not excelling, just better that I'm actually here. Yeah. And I feel like it takes a lot of moments of, I think a really young child mostly just wants their mom, usually. Yep. And I think it takes a lot of swallowing of ego to realize like, okay, cool. I only have so much purpose here. Yeah. And
I can only do so much, and she doesn't want whatever I have to provide right now. Well, this morning, that's how it was. Yeah. I fed her. I changed her. I was holding her, rocking her. I stood up because I remember you telling me, go through a different threshold.
Yeah, just walk outside. Go into a different room.
Going to a different threshold can set a whole different mood.
It
so
can.
I did different rooms. I did everything I could, and still nothing. And finally, Haley woke up and came upstairs and was like, do you need mama?
It immediately stopped.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was like, oh, okay.
And in that moment, like, your pride is hurt.
Yeah.
Like, you just tried.
I think I was just like, there you go.
Yeah.
Take her.
Yep.
I went downstairs, and I think I got a shower. And
took a reset.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think in those moments, it is hard to, It's weird to think that an infant can personally offend you to some extent, but it does suck. You're like, all right, I want my wife to be able to sleep longer. I want to be a calming and loving source to this child, and everything I do makes it scream in my face. If I was in a friendship with you and everything I did made you scream at me in the face, I wouldn't be friends with you for much longer.
Nope.
But like an infant, you have to figure out how to reset yourself and be like, cool, I'm gonna keep trying.
Yeah. That's hard though, man.
Yeah,
it's hard because I want to be the one, like the savior complex.
Yeah.
To fix everything.
Yep.
But it's frustrating. It's interesting. I was talking to Chris Wolf PT. Shout out. And I was helping him move a couch this morning.
Yeah.
He has 3 kids too.
Okay.
3 girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was just saying, man, you're gonna get so much advice from different people. He was just like, just the majority of the time, you just figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
Granted, you want to have that advice. So if something like that does happen, you can be like, okay, he did this and it worked. Let me try that. If it doesn't work, then I try something else.
It's a really weird. I remember like when first having kids, like doctors walking up to you whenever you have like a month old and they're like, oh, what's your baby like? And you're like, I just met this kid.
Yeah.
Like I just met this person. Everyone expects you to be an expert on your child. And I think to some extent you just, you parent by conviction. So if you're like this, I did this for my kid. This made me feel like I was being an awful person. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a lot of what it comes down to. It's like, cool, I did this. Does this line up with my moral code? Does this line up with what type of person I want to be? Because ultimately, your kids are kind of a mirror. They just reflect back to you what you are.
Oh,
once your kid starts talking, you realize how obnoxious of a person you are. It doesn't take much for some people. But
why are you pointing at me?
I wasn't. I was just pointing in the general area that you happen to be in with both hands. I apparently start a lot of sentences with the word actually. And I didn't know that until I had kids and heard them say, actually, Dad, actually, Mom, actually, I think, actually, did you know, actually. And I'm like, wow, who's it? Oh, I say that. I'm the obnoxious one.
That's going to be interesting. I don't know what she's going to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I repeat words.
There's something you do. There's going to be something you do,
is.
or that Haley does, where you watch your kid do it and you'll be like, where did you learned it from us. That's where you learned this from.
I cannot wait though. Just because, I mean, I love the period that she's in.
Yeah.
Cute, lovey-dovey. But I want to get to know her personality.
Yeah.
I want to know what kind of person she's going to be from the start to where I can mold.
Well, on that note, we're going to call this episode a wrap. Let's cue that outro music. We really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nashville Dads. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.